Hey, everybody, welcome to a very special edition of the Chaska Middle School West Band Weekly Podcast. This is our year in review where we recap all the great things that have happened in the last 9 months. And, a lot of times people think about middle school choir, band, orchestra as, you go to rehearsal, you learn some songs, you give 2 or 3 concerts during the year, and that's what you do. And if that's what you think, boy, in the next 20 minutes, you're going to hear stuff that's going to blow your mind. And I just want to start by saying I'm just so very proud of all 280 of the band students I had, and even more when it comes to kids that did other various ensembles and classes in our music department. So proud of all of them, and it was a really, really fun year. So let's get to it and reflect. And now these are in really no particular order, definitely not chronological. And I just kind of brainstormed everything that we did, and I hope I didn't leave anything out. I very likely could have. But these were some of the highlights. So let's just start with one of the great new events we had this year, the 8th grade band tour that featured East, Pioneer Ridge, and West all going on tour and playing in middle school en route to UW Eau Claire, where we had lunch and had a clinic from the great Phil Ostrander, and then went over to Action City and had some really fun times just hanging out with each other. And it was a great way to end our year in May and celebrate 3 years together as an 8th grade band. This year, all 3 grades took a trip. The 7th grade band took a trip that the 8th grade band used to take to an MMEA band festival at Southview Middle School in Edina, and we did that back at the end of April. The 7th grade band went, heard some other bands play, and then we had a chance to perform, and then had a wonderful clinic at Southview, and then we went out for lunch. So that was a really fun time. And the 6th grade band did a tour for the first time in my teaching career, and we did a tour of Bluff Creek and Clover Ridge and La Academia. And it was really cool to perform at all 3 venues. This was way back in October, where I barely, quite honestly, knew everyone's name. And we put together 4 songs and were able to perform at a very early on stage. And so impressed with the 6th grade band to be able to pull that off. But it really brought us together as a group early on in the year. Another event that was basically the second year we did it was our garage band tour. And we added the country band on this year. And just awesome trip. I think some of the students that went on that would say it was the highlight of the year as far as trips. And we started the day by going over to Bluff Creek and playing for Casey Barker's music classes, which was really sweet. And then we went over to the Mall of America for lunch, and after that we went over to UW River Falls, so going from the youngest kids to the oldest students, I guess you would say, and we got to perform for some music ed majors and my good friend Paul Booty at UW River Falls, and he does just such a fantastic job. We had a really good time there. And then we finished the night off after dinner by going to the Garage, which is a great venue in Burnsville, and got a chance to play. And not only all the country and garage bands performed, but we got to hear the high school garage band, which was a brand new thing as well this year. And the high school garage band played, and that was super cool. So what a great year for our country band and garage bands. Just some incredible kids doing some great things. So really, really cool program that is just snowballing. We're up to going to be 15 years now with our garage band and 10 with our country band. So super cool groups. Another really great trip this year was our Eau Claire Jazz Festival trip with the rhythm section. For the first time in many years, I did an overnight trip with students, and we took the mini bus. I got my mini bus license this year, and I don't know, some people call it the party bus, but I didn't quite know how that was going to go over, but I think we had a pretty darn good time taking that mini bus to Eau Claire, and we stayed overnight and saw a great concert featuring some the Eau Claire Jazz Ensemble one. And yeah, I went to Eau Claire, so I'm a little biased, but it was a phenomenal concert. So cool. And we got to see Bob Mincer play, and he is such a great musician. And we got to go through the 52nd Street area in downtown Eau Claire, saw a couple college bands play, and just got a chance to hang out with each other. And the next day we hung out on campus and saw some other bands play, and we got to perform, and we had no microphones for the singers, and we didn't care. We were having such a blast, and Eau Claire Jazz Festival is amazing. So, rhythm section, I compliment all of you on just an amazing year. Just really love you guys, and thanks for all your dedication throughout the year. The rhythm section is an extension of our jazz program, and probably the highlight of our jazz year was going to the Duluth Jazz Festival back in March, and it was a cold day, although it was sunny and pretty out. You know, Duluth is such a beautiful city, and the campus is wonderful, and the jazz festival there is so well run by Ryan Frayne. I'm just so impressed with that man, and we got to see the saxophone player from the Dave Matthews Band, and he was just off the charts amazing. And we got a chance to perform, and Pioneer Ridge and East were both there, and so our 7th and 8th grade jazz bands had a really good time up in Duluth, and we rode a coach bus. It was a wonderful ride up and down, just a really great bonding experience for our jazz bands. This next thing is something that's a highlight every year, and that's the talent show. And the talent show, once again, was a huge hit. We had a ton of great performers, the garage band and country band and jazz band. Of course, the rhythm section was our house band. Lots of great performers ranging from singers to dancers, piano players, tap dancer. Connor Johnson was great. We had now I'm blanking, but we had such a great variety of things. The hosts were incredible, and we had Sean Bartles, Kira Cameron, Sawyer Item, Maxwell Eriksrud, Kylie Jones, McKenna Jones, Amy Lobbs, Kendall Larson, Ellie Miller, and Ellie Rathman. That's the most hosts I've ever had in a talent show, 10. But they, amazing, wrote the script, prepared it all, were fantastic on stage, had a great theme to the night. So wonderful, wonderful show back in January. So impressed with everybody who was involved in that, from the committees all the 8th graders served on. Just wonderful, wonderful job there. Back to the jazz bands, we had our annual District Jazz Festival back in February, and all of our jazz bands, grades 6 through 8, were there, plus the rhythm section, and we had wonderful clinics from the amazing Phil Holm. We love Phil Holm, one of the great jazz clinicians in the Twin Cities area. So Phil taught us a lot and kept us engaged and entertained throughout the day. Great evening concert with Jim Tenbenzel as the guest artist. So that was a really, really fun day as well. Evening with the Stars was a kind of a new event. Well, not a new event, but we had a new approach to it this year where the concert bands didn't play. We had our ensembles play. So the jazz ensembles and rhythm section all played. We had our flute quartet and brass sextet performed. We had our talent show all-stars perform. And the choirs and orchestras were there. But instead of the concert bands, we had all of our wind ensembles. So Bland Boys, Spice Girls, Times Square, Dodeca Beats, Socio Fiflets, Appanonatonics, they all performed at the Evening with the Stars, and it was super cool. Super cool to have those groups play. And the wind ensembles were a new thing this year, even though we've had some of those groups I mentioned had been together the year before. But to have a specific time, wind time to rehearse was really neat, and we had a chance to really bond together a lot more. So that was wonderful. So great night. DJs DJ'd that night too, so very fun, Evening with the Stars. Our annual Rocket concert was a blast, pun intended, and that back in February featured again our country band, our garage bands, a couple of our hip-hop DJs were down there. Aiden was doing some visual artwork while we were performing, and other than the power going out right near the beginning and some light issues on our first tune, everything went off really well after that. And again, so proud of all the kids in those groups, and that's such a fun concert. Raised some money for Pennies for Patients, and our school again did a great job raising money for that. So wonderful night, Rocket concert. We had a really cool opportunity this year, some of our garage band members, to go to the Jingle Ball concert in December at the XL Energy Center. Not just go to the concert, but go backstage and see the inner workings. And I was thoroughly impressed with how the stage works, and they circle the stage around to get each artist up there. So while one artist is performing, they're setting up the next artist, and they have these big platforms that they move in to set stuff up, and they move them back out when they're done. The lighting, the video, all the aspects was so cool. And probably the coolest part of the night is after we had a full walk around the backstage area and past the dressing rooms. we got back to the main stage area backstage, and the band Why Don't We was just finishing up their set, and they were walking off stage, and they didn't just say hi to us for a few seconds, but they talked to us for about 10 minutes. And how cool for an up and coming act like that to stop and chat with us. So what a fun experience for our kids to see how a concert like that works, and then you get to talk to some pretty well-known artists like that, and they were kind of fangirling on the bit, but it was pretty sweet. So very cool experience. And actually that same week I had an opportunity to go see Night Ranger and Loverboy as well, and meet Night Ranger also. And we were actually doing a Night Ranger song this year with the 7th grade band, and we shared the song Rockin' America. We shared our performance of it that featured Reed Gazinski playing guitar, and then Lacey Dalkey and Emily Peterson were singing on it. We shared that, and we actually got some pretty cool feedback from the keyboard player of Night Ranger. So really cool deal to have that happen. Moving on, we had our annual bowling outing, which we packed Louisville Lanes, and so sad that Louisville Lanes is closing. We've had such a great experience going there every year, so we closed it out well. We pretty much were wall to wall with students bowling and having some good times, team building. We had our 2 formal concerts this year, the winter concert and the spring concert. And the spring concert especially, it's maybe more because it's fresh on my brain, but I really do think one of the better concerts I can remember at Chaska Middle School West in the last 5-10 years. Every song very well prepared, played well, and some hard literature that we did, especially 7th and 8th grade band, 7th band doing Moscow 1941, and 8th grade band doing Half Moon on the Hudson. Those are not easy pieces, and they were played very well. I was so impressed with the kids on their performances, and both of those concerts, all 3 grades. We went to the Mall of America very recently, just about a week ago, with our WIN groups. That was a new trip this year, and very fun to watch all those groups perform up on stage at the Mall of America. And also, in addition to all of our WIN groups, the pop ensemble performed, and they were amazing. It was the debut performance of this brand new group. We've never had a pop ensemble before. It was basically like garage band, but we did all songs from like the last 2 years, pretty much from the last 2 years. And a lot of the songs had tracks that were, a lot of them created by Gordy Moline. Gordy is an amazing, amazing musician, also one of the drummers in that band. So he created a lot of those tracks. And then both Gordy and Jack, our other drummer, did an incredible job playing along with those tracks, keeping a steady beat, as did everyone in the ensemble to make that those performances sound good. So, so impressed with our pop ensemble and excited to keep that going in the years ahead. And speaking of malls, we also did our annual EP mall trip, Eden Prairie Mall, and did it over the holidays. And our 7th and 8th grade band broke into chamber ensembles and played holiday favorites right in front of Von Mar on the first level. And a great opportunity for our students to play in smaller groups and play some fun music, and maybe do a little Christmas shopping on their break. So that was a great day as well. And the 6th graders were not left out. They had a chance to go caroling around our school right before our winter break. And we got to play in a lot of 6th grade classrooms and get that experience as well. And I'm excited for the 6th graders to have that EP Mall experience next year. I don't have anything to do with this next event, but a lot of our students were involved in the middle school musical, which was High School Musical Junior, directed by the incredible Eli Johnson and his co-director, Destiny Colville, who's a former student of mine at West, and they did a wonderful job. So proud of those kids. I was just talking to Kenna Pesta. Kenna was one of the leads and was phenomenal, and so impressed with how all those kids step up. And when you watch that show, it's hard to believe it's middle school because they're so polished, they're so talented. So I love our musical program. I know Mr. Johnson is planning on adding a 6th grade musical next year, and there's some great summer music camps coming up. So very, very cool stuff going on with the musicals. So thank you, Mr. Johnson, and all the kids who participated in that. We took our annual trip to Orchestra Hall this year with the 6th grade band, heard some great music, even though we had one kid run into a tree. Those are things you don't forget. So I missed the first song. I was kind of bummed by that. So, hey, next year when we go, no one run into a tree, okay? But such a great great opportunity for us to have this wonderful orchestra basically in our backyard, and that we get to go and that they do these concerts for middle school kids, and it's just a great experience for us. Switch back a little bit. I know I'm totally going random order here. The pop ensemble had an awesome opportunity before our first concert to go to a recording studio. My friend Matt Patrick runs an incredible recording studio called The Library in downtown Minneapolis, and he let us come over there, and we got a chance to tour the studio and learn kind of how everything works, musically speaking, production, and all that. And he even gave us an opportunity to do a little singing, playing some instruments, and he kind of fidgeted around a little bit with some of the sounds, and the kids were loving that. So thank you, Matt, for that experience. And our pop ensemble kids now, next time they come, they want to actually record something. So we'll see about that. Guest artists this year. I love bringing in guests, and we had some great ones. DJ Freddie Fresh came out again this year and showed us some new technology, which was sweet. Agape came out again this year and did some rapping and got us all feeling good about ourselves and treating everyone with kindness through the gift of rap and hip hop. So that was sweet. Bass player Ian Allison came out again. Ian plays with Eric Hutchinson and has been on tour with Pentatonics and Kelly Clarkson and Rachel Platten and all sorts of great people. And Ian is a wonderful guy and just a great bass player based here in the Twin Cities, who's doing the professional music thing, touring around the country, and he shared a lot of his stories. So that was great to have Ian out. Another great musician here in the area, Nate Babs, came out and did a drum set clinic. And Nate, again, another touring musician who does a lot of playing here in the Twin Cities, high demand drummer, and great guy. So it was great to have Nate come out. Vanamali Medina, a flute player, came out, and Carl Vitervol, trombone, did some wonderful clinics with us. And then for the first time ever, I had a member of the Minnesota Orchestra come on out and do a clinic. Charles Lazarus, trumpet player, who's actually now the new trumpet professor at the University of Minnesota too. And Charles was amazing. What an incredible musician. And sometimes you worry when you bring out Charles and all these other musicians I just mentioned, that are they going to be able to talk to middle school students at a position where middle school students understand? And in other words, can those guest clinicians know where those middle school kids are at, not just musically, but like emotionally and mentally, and what they can learn. And Charles and everyone were just phenomenal with that. So it was very, very cool. And then also my band that I play in, not my band, but a band I play in called Power Tap, came out and did a clinic with our garage bands, and they coached our garage bands one week. And that was super cool. And we are going to be doing that again. So huge thanks to all my bandmates in Power Tap for coming out and being part of that event. So I said this was going to be 20 minutes. It's going to be more like 30 because I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, I can't get the rest in 2 minutes. But I'm going to fly a little bit faster through this stuff. Rhythm section played at the Walkathon this year, which was super cool again. That's been an annual tradition. We had our district band festival where our 7th and 8th graders took a half day and went over to Chaska or Chan High School, whichever high school they're going to attend down the road, and got a chance to perform with Pioneer Ridge and East kids in their grade, and then also got to talk to some of the high school kids and hear one of the high school bands perform. So that was a wonderful experience back at the end of January. We had a lot of honor band experiences, and I just want to run those down and congratulate some kids. We had the Tri-State Honor Band in Decorah that we had many kids attend. Abby Owusu, Hope Greer, Keegan Cummings, Jennifer Mang, Max Bryan, or sorry, not Max Bryan, Max Eriksrud, John Schwiniger, Sydney Kermeyer, and Hannah Ulanaski. So a wonderful experience for those kids down at that really well-run Tri-State Band Festival in Decorah, Iowa. A huge congratulations to Sean Bartles for being selected and performing in the State Honor Jazz Band back in February. And a huge congratulations as well to Sydney Kermeyer, who was chosen and participated in the State Honor Band in April. So proud of those two kids for making those groups. That's very, very hard to get into those groups. And I always like to mention that this is the second year in a row that we've had the Barry sax player in the All-State Honor Jazz Band. So we are now the Barry Sax School. So we'll see if we can keep that streak running next year. It's all on you, Keegan. Good luck, buddy. But congratulations to Sean and Sydney. We had some kids in the Regional Honor Jazz Band in Lakeville back in March. Will Johnson, Blake Dewey, Donatella Thomas. So huge congratulations to those three. We had 5 kids in the Regional Honor Band Festival in Mankato in February. Peyton Tregembo, Jordan Sayer, Hannah Ulanoski, Ava Callip, and Timmy Klein. So big shout out to those 5 for doing that. We had 3 kids participating in Minnesota Junior Wins this year: Max Eriksrud, Hannah Ulanoski, and Donatella Thomas. So congratulations to those 3 for doing that every Monday night and making music part of your life in addition to what happens at school. And all 3 of you are sounding phenomenal due to that experience. So proud of you guys. And then also 7th grader Keegan Cummings on Barry Sax did the Minnesota Youth Jazz Bands this year. So Keegan, you're doing great things. Keep it up. So a number of kids did solo ensemble this year, and I swear this was the year of rescheduling stuff, and solo ensemble was one of many things that kind of got the shaft this year due to the blizzard that we had in April. We couldn't do it on a Saturday. We did it at our school. Huge thanks to Jeff Sen, Heidi Songer for coming on out and making that work on a Friday at our school. Huge thanks to Rachel Eckert for letting us use your room, and a huge thanks to David Seminis for setting up the live streaming so parents could see it. So that was really cool how that all worked out. But many, many students participated in that and did some really great performances. And I'm so proud of all you kids for going above and beyond and learning more music and playing in front of a judge. And you're going to be getting your medals here this week, finally, and certificates. So congratulations to all of you. So we had our Veterans Day Assembly where our 7th grade band performed a bunch of patriotic music, and it's a great assembly in our school. Huge thanks to Troy Smutka, George Peoples for all your organization putting that together. And we had a ton of veterans come on out, and they were celebrated, and I think they were really impressed with what we do here at West. Students spoke about freedom and what it means to them. The choir sang. Like I said, the 7th grade band played. A huge shout out to our 4 trumpet players who performed taps: Blake Dewey, John Schwinniger, Anthony Steinhoff, Amy Lobbs did a great rendition of taps where they echoed each other. 4 really good trumpet players, so that was cool. Homecoming, yet another event that we had scheduling problems with. We never even did get to do the Chaska parade due to rain, so that was a bummer. We did get to march in Chanhassen though with our fall marching band, and it was actually a really nice day that day. It was fun to march, beautiful fall day, and the kids did a great job performing in that parade. What else? We're getting near the end here. The most recent thing that happened, I guess, as far as performance was just yesterday. The rhythm section, again, it just had a fantastic year with the walkathon, the talent show, the Eau Claire Jazz Festival, the District Jazz Festival, and they finished their year playing for the 8th grade celebration just yesterday, and we did a ton of fun songs, more pop based, like Crocodile Rock and Take a Bow. We did do Watermelon Man, which we always do. And we did some other really cool things this year, like we did What Took You So Long, which was an original song that I wrote for the group that featured the kids playing multiple instruments, which was pretty sweet. We did some Scott Bradley covers like Grenade and Teenage Dirtbag. And speaking of, our jazz band did some really cool tunes this year too. And one thing I just want to mention, not because I want to brag about writing a song, but my colleague Gina Ford, who's battling cancer, she would go and get her chemo infusions every Thursday, and then still come in and do jazz band rehearsal, which was just amazing. And so the only thing is, we kind of joke that she would forget some things because chemo has a way of messing with your memory a little bit. And so I wrote a song for her called Infusion Confusion, and it was a song that kind of bounced back and forth between a swing feel and a light rock feel, and never really settled into one or the other. So it was like it was being confusing. So, but that was really fun to do that tune. And it just happened to be that Ellie Rathman, I'm not trying to say, Ellie, shame on you, but Ellie could not make 2 of our performances of that song. So Mrs. Ford actually got to play piano on that, and a song written for her. So that was really cool. So I'm getting off track, and I said I would keep this under 20 minutes and then 30 minutes. So I got to stick to the 30. Our honor band actually just went on tour today. That would actually be the most recent thing. And I had a great time playing at La Academia in Clover Ridge and Victoria Elementary Schools. So congratulations to our 7th and 8th grade honor band. And we actually still have an event coming up on Monday, June 4th. the 7th and 8th grade honor band and the 6th grade honor band will be performing at their spring concert at Chanhassen High School Auditorium at 7 p.m. And they'll go till about 8 o'clock. And the 6th grade honor band's brand new this year, another brand new ensemble that we started this year that Mr. Prescott and I have been conducting, while Mrs. Ford and Mr. Potter have been doing the 7th and 8th grade honor band. So we're looking forward to doing this joint concert and showing off this immense amount of talent here in our music program. I mentioned Pop Ensemble being a brand new thing this year, and we did a concert at the Mall of America, and then did an informal performance in the band room on our last day, last Friday. And again, it was just super cool to work with that group with all the technology and the ton of talent, some really good singers in that band. Well, we did our School of Rock class earlier this year, way back in September and October, and had some really great students take that class. And it was for the first time in School of Rock, I actually had a student, Savannah Larson, who wrote a song, and we did a song that she wrote, and Anna Holk helped do the instrumentation for that. So it was very cool to have that experience. So Savannah, congratulations on that. We also did our beginning guitar class back in October, November, and our Hip Hop Academy class back in October and November. A lot of kids ended up DJing at our Morning Star and Lunch Star that we do every day at Chaska Middle School West, or most days, where kids can DJ, or they can play piano, or they can sing, do some karaoke. So we had a lot of fun with that this past year at morning shifts before school starts and at the lunch shifts. We had a couple songwriting groups this year. One 8th grade group I really want to point out was Matea Foss and Nama Palacios and Kendall Curtis and VJ Sumner. They spent a lot of time writing their own song, original song, called Each Other, and they ended up posting it on Bandcamp, and you can buy it for 69 cents, and all the proceeds from that song go towards hurricane relief in Houston and in Florida and in Puerto Rico. So a very cool project for them to do. I'm so proud of those 4 girls. They did a wonderful job this year. And that songwriting lesson group was part of these bonus lessons that I've kind of been doing, but it kind of went full bore this year, where on Fridays, students, instead of taking lessons on their band instruments, could do songwriting or improvisation, or they could do bass guitar, drum set, jazz piano, guitar, 4-mallet technique, production, listening, and theory. So very cool to have students, and we had students doing them all, which was really neat. And it was a small number of kids in each group, and I think they got a really good experience doing it. So hey, there's 2 other groups I want to mention about like honor groups that kids made. Our 2nd year honor band near the end of April, that was right here in Chanhassen, featured Catherine Hauk and Erin Siminis and Sabrina Olson, all made that band. So congratulations to those 3 girls. And a small ensemble day way back in October, we had 3 7th graders participate in that, Keegan Cummings, Max Bryan, and Hope Greer. So congratulations to those 3 kids for doing that. And the last thing on my brain is the thing that we just got done with today, was our second floor party of the year. We had one back at the end of September, and then we had another one today, which was a great just celebration of 8th graders and saying thank you for being in band for 3 years and for being awesome people. So we had my good friend DJ Jay Larson come out, and we had pizza and watched a movie, played video games, just hung out and chatted. It was really fun. The first second floor party, we had a jam room that was on fire. We were having a lot of fun playing. So those are fun parties. So wow, that was the year. That's what we did, and I can't believe we did it all. And we did it all at a very high level, and had a ton of fun, and built friendships that will last a lifetime. And so I'm so proud again of all you students. And I'd encourage you to do some summer stuff. We have summer stuff starting June 12th and 13th, and would love to see you be part of that. And we'll be talking about that a little bit in the next podcast. And I will just tell you really quickly that those classes are jazz band 9 a.m. on Tuesdays, movie band 10 a.m. on Tuesdays, no, 11 a.m. on Tuesdays. Marching band is 10 a.m. on Tuesdays. Music tech is at noon on Tuesdays. We have beginning guitar at 1 p.m. on Tuesdays, mariachi band at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays. Oh, I forgot mariachi band. We had a great performance this year at Reyes Teca Restaurant back at the beginning of May, and the mariachi band was the biggest we ever had. It was 15 kids. Oh, I'm going to go over 30 minutes. Oh no! But anyway, it was awesome, and I'm so proud of the mariachi people. And we're going to have another mariachi band here coming up in the summer. So anyway, back to the summer schedule: country band 11 a.m. on Wednesdays, and garage band noon on Wednesdays. And we actually have a high school garage band that will meet at 1:15 on Wednesdays as well. I'm looking back to make sure I didn't miss anything around Reyes Tech. No, there it is. I just skipped over it. So, yeah, anyway, we have one more podcast coming up, and that'll be next week. I've been doing these every week now for 2 years, and on that podcast, um, it's going to be a good one, and I'm going to invite you to tune in and check out what we're going to do. And I also want to just say, too, that over the summer, I'm going to start a new podcast talking about music education, education in general. And it's basically going to be based around this second floor therapy that I've started actually 4 years ago. My good friends Tally Tripp, Gracie Grohans get all the credit. And it's just a time for us to talk about middle school life and getting through life. Sometimes I say middle school is survive and advance, just like the college basketball tournament, right? But it can also be more than that. It can be thriving and learning about yourself and learning from failing and not being afraid to fail and all sorts of great stuff. So we're going to be talking about that this summer on the weekly podcast. So I'd invite you to keep tuning in. And there might be some other tangents that we go off on. But I'm very excited to continue these podcasts, and I'm glad you're watching. And I hope you enjoyed hearing about everything we did this year. I will tell you that there will be a great slideshow that will be posted on YouTube very soon on my YouTube channel, Mr. Songer's channel, that will have pictures of all these events. So you can check that out, and the kids will get to see these in the last day of band too. So, well, once again, I invite you to tune in next week. It should be a great episode next week, and I'll just leave it at that. So thanks again for watching. I'm sorry this ended up being a longer podcast than I thought, but there's a lot to get to. So feel free to email me, songere@district112.org. Follow me on Twitter @CMSW Band or @Songer Studio. And yeah, I'll look forward to hearing from you if you have any comments.